This is Lisa Wentz with Family Matters Law Group, and I am back talking about restraining orders, domestic violence injunctions, restraining orders for sexual violence, repeat violence, dating violence, all of the different kinds of injunctions that we have in Florida. So in the last video, I talked a little bit about what the differences are between those injunctions, why you might file for one versus another, and what the general process is for getting a restraining order, no matter what type of restraining order you are going to get. Today, what I want to talk about is why you would get a restraining order. So the purpose of a restraining order, which we really do call injunctions, that's the fancy name for them, the purpose of an injunction in Florida is to keep one person away from another person. So when you are granted an injunction, whether it is temporary or for some period of time or until further court order, what would normally be referred to as a permanent injunction, when you are granted that, it is basically an order saying this other person cannot make contact with you. They can't come within a certain number of feet of your home or your work. They're not allowed to be in the same place where you are. Now in Florida, restraining orders are kind of a one-way street. So they only impact the respondent. They don't really impact the petitioner. So the petitioner does not have a duty to stay away from the respondent. The respondent has a duty to stay away from the petitioner. So one of the questions we get asked is like, so what happens if I'm in a grocery store and the other person walks in? Well, if you're in a grocery store and you're the petitioner and the other person walks in and you call the police can come and either arrest that person for being within a certain number of feet of you and breaking the court order, violating the restraining order, or ask the person to leave, sort of depending on the circumstances, depending on how it feels or what all the different facts are. So the petitioner, the person who got the restraining order, who went and asked for the restraining order, I should say, to be clear, that person cannot violate the restraining order. Having said that, if the petitioner is making contact with the respondent, if the petitioner is instigating issues with the respondent, that might be a basis to do away with the restraining order, to vacate the order for the injunction, and to make the restraining order go away. But the petitioner can't get in trouble. So what does a restraining order really do? Well, it takes certain things that would normally be okay, reasonable, legal activities, like going to someone's house, going to the gym, driving by a particular office building, and it makes those things illegal for that person because there is a court order that they're violating. The consequences of a restraining order can be criminal, which means you can end up having criminal charges against you if you violate a restraining order. So they are really serious. At the end of the day, what do they accomplish? They take certain things like being parked in front of someone's house that normally there is no criminal consequence to, and they give a criminal consequence to it. They also sort of set the stage and protect people who have had a history of this kind of violence, to where if that person calls the police are going to take this seriously. They're going to respond more quickly because there's a restraining order in place. So it sort of puts everybody on notice that the respondent has an issue. It's also a civil case. It is not a criminal case up until there's a violation, but there is a record of it. And if anybody searches your name through the clerk of courts, they're going to see that there is this history of a restraining order. So hopefully this all helps to make a little bit of sense of how restraining orders work. If you feel like you are in need of one, it's something you definitely want to get in touch with an attorney and have a consultation about. And if you have gotten served and someone is trying to get one against you, absolutely unequivocally, you need to talk to a lawyer. All of the rules of evidence still come into play. There's still a full trial, and there can be some long-term consequences. So hopefully you guys found this helpful. If you did, please like and subscribe to our videos to stay updated about new content in the future. All right, bye. Thank you for tuning in. If you found this information helpful, make sure you like and subscribe so you stay updated about new content on the channel.